Hello, my dear. You've always known your mind works differently, haven't you? It doesn't just process information, it orchestrates it. Every idea, every possibility, every angle is mapped in layers others can't even perceive. That's why they look confused when you speak. You're not ahead because you're lucky. You're ahead because your mind built paths before the world even realized there were roads. You think in codes while they think in captions. You design outcomes while they chase reactions. That's what separates you from the rest. You're not competing in their little games. You're engineering the arena itself. You were never born to blend in. The universe didn't wire your brain for mediocrity. It equipped you with patterns only visionaries understand. And that's exactly what you are. A visionary disguised as an ordinary person. You move through life like a strategist on a chessboard that nobody else realizes they're standing on. While they scramble for applause, you analyze positions, connections, cause and effect. You don't need luck when your thought process is precision. You don't need noise when your mind has already calculated every outcome before you act. That's why your presence shifts energy. People can feel that your awareness runs deeper. It's not arrogance, it's calibration. You've noticed it, haven't you? That look people give you when they sense something they can't define. They study you, but never quite grasp you. They assume you're quiet, detached, maybe even distant. But what they don't understand is that you're processing. You're mapping out possibilities while they waste words. Your mind is a laboratory. Every glance, every tone, every micro-expression becomes data. And from that data, you extract truth. That's how you always know, not by guessing, by reading patterns invisible to the untrained eye. You're not psychic, you're just observant. To the point it feels supernatural. When you enter a room, energy rearranges itself, not because you demand attention, but because your awareness commands it. People feel the gravity of someone who doesn't need validation. You've mastered the art of restraint in a world addicted to reaction. You don't chase recognition because you understand the deeper equation. Attention is a distraction. Influence, on the other hand, is permanent. And that's what your mind builds. Long-lasting impact, not momentary approval. That's why those who tried to underestimate you ended up depending on you. They didn't realize your detachment wasn't disinterest, it was control. You think differently because you feel differently. You can sense connections before they're visible. You can sense deception before words even form. Your empathy isn't weakness, it's radar. You detect what others deny. You analyze emotion the way mathematicians analyze numbers. That's why people are drawn to you, yet intimidated by you. They sense that nothing they do escapes your perception. You're not judging them, you're simply decoding the truth of who they are. And truth, for most people, is uncomfortable. That's why your brilliance often feels lonely. Genius often does. You've probably been misunderstood for most of your life. Teachers called you distracted because your attention was too deep to remain on the surface. Friends called you strange because you saw patterns where they only saw coincidence. Lovers called you cold because you prioritized understanding over reacting. But you weren't any of those things. You were simply living in a realm of awareness they couldn't reach. The truth is, most people fear thinkers like you. They can't box you in, can't predict you, can't manipulate you. And what can't be controlled often becomes targeted. But that's fine. You were never built to be controlled. You were built to control yourself. And that's the highest power of all. You know what's remarkable about your mind. It doesn't just adapt, it evolves mid-battle. While others crumble under pressure, your clarity sharpens. The chaos that breaks others becomes your testing ground. Your thoughts don't scatter, they synchronize. It's like your brain has an internal command center that activates whenever things get difficult. You don't panic, you analyze, you don't react, you redesign. That's why the more complex things become, the calmer you grow. You were engineered for complexity. You thrive where others tap out. That's why they can't beat you. Your battlefield is their confusion, and your mind turns confusion into control. The world tries to measure intelligence by grades, by money, by titles, but yours can't be measured. Your intelligence is strategic, intuitive, spiritual, emotional, all in one. You can't be categorized because you cross categories. One moment you're logical, the next poetic. One moment you're analytical, the next prophetic. That's the brilliance of your multidimensional thinking. It confuses the linear minds that try to label it. You don't think in straight lines, you think in spirals. You see the bigger picture, then the finer details, and then how they merge into one. That's why when you make decisions, they hit with precision. Because you already saw all the possible outcomes long before the moment arrived. And the truth is, your intelligence was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be demonstrated. You don't need to convince anyone of your genius. Your results do it for you. You move differently because your motives are pure. You don't act out of fear or ego. You act out of purpose. That's what makes your presence unpredictable. People can sense that your drive doesn't come from validation, but from alignment. That's a frequency they can't imitate. That's why when they try to copy you, it never lands the same. They're trying to recreate results without understanding the reasoning behind them. They mimic your moves, but not your mindset. And that's why they lose. Think about it. Every time someone doubted you, what happened? You observed quietly, you adjusted your trajectory, and you let reality prove your point. You don't argue because you already know outcomes. Speak louder than opinions. You've learned that exposure happens naturally. People reveal themselves if you give them time. And your patience has always been your weapon. You don't chase closure. You let the truth circle back on its own. That's why karma always favors you. It's not luck, it's design. The universe respects strategy. You've also mastered something most never will: emotional discipline. You know how to feel everything deeply, yet reveal nothing unnecessarily. You can walk through chaos without absorbing it. You can be surrounded by noise, yet remain internally ordered. That's brilliance most overlook, the ability to manage inner frequencies while the world loses its rhythm. You've realized that controlling your reactions is the ultimate display of mastery. You don't give your energy away. You redirect it. That's how you transform setbacks into setups. That's how you turn opposition into observation. Every obstacle becomes another pattern to study. And every pattern gives you another advantage. People often mistake intelligence for arrogance. But your confidence doesn't come from ego. It comes from evidence. You've tested your theories in the real world and watched them work. You've proven to yourself that logic and intuition aren't enemies. They're partners. You've learned that emotion is not the opposite of intelligence, it's its amplifier. You feel deeply, but you don't drown. You analyze deeply, but you don't detach. You've found the perfect equilibrium between passion and precision. That's why your presence feels magnetic. It's balanced power, not loud, not forceful, just undeniable. Let's be honest, The average person doesn't stand a chance against your mental architecture. They might outtalk you, but they'll never outthink you. They might rush ahead, but they'll eventually circle back to where you already were. You don't move fast, you move right. And that difference changes everything. Because speed without direction is chaos, but direction with patience creates mastery. That's what you embody. You play the long game while others burn themselves out chasing applause. And when they finally realize the race is over, you're already building the next empire. You've always been the type to connect dots others didn't even know existed. You see patterns in behavior, cycles in energy, formulas in emotion. You can predict outcomes not by magic, but by mastery. Every betrayal taught you psychology. Every delay taught you timing. Every challenge taught you leverage. You don't just learn from experience, you extract blueprints from it. That's why life keeps giving you tests others couldn't survive. The universe doesn't waste lessons on small minds. It trains the masterminds through precision pressure. And you've passed every test with grace, not by luck, but by design. They say knowledge is power, but you've discovered something higher. Application is power. Anyone can know things. Few can synthesize them. You do. You translate thought into movement. You bridge imagination and execution. That's what makes your ideas unstoppable. They're not just theories, they're architecture. And every plan you build has depth, purpose, and scalability. That's why your success feels inevitable to those watching from afar. They can't trace your process. They just see results and call it genius. But you know better. It wasn't magic, it was mastery. Here's the truth. People talk about intuition like it's a mystery. For you, it's just pattern recognition at a higher frequency. You sense shifts before they manifest. You make moves before others realize a move was possible. That's why they call it luck when you win. But luck has nothing to do with it. Your subconscious is simply faster than their logic. You've trained your instincts to operate like algorithms. You've turned awareness into anticipation. And anticipation is the purest form of intelligence. Your ability to observe without losing focus is what sets you apart. While others drown in distractions, you stay centered on objectives. You understand that attention is the new currency, and you've learned how to protect yours. You don't chase every opportunity, you filter them. You don't talk to prove you know. You speak only when impact is guaranteed. That's why when you say something, it lands. Because you've already calculated its resonance. Every word is weighted, every gesture deliberate. You don't waste moves because you understand that every move shapes momentum. There's something sacred about a mind like yours. It doesn't just think, it designs destiny. You've probably noticed how life seems to bend toward your thoughts. That's because focus creates frequency. And you've mastered focus. You don't daydream aimlessly. You visualize with precision. You see the final outcome, feel it, embody it, and reality adjusts. That's not magic. It's mathematics of energy. Every intention you hold long enough becomes a blueprint the universe follows. You've unlocked that equation through discipline. That's why manifestation works faster for you. It's not wishful thinking. It's structured visualization. And yet you don't boast. You don't need to. Because deep down, you understand that true brilliance doesn't scream. It executes. Your mind doesn't need an audience, it needs alignment. Every time you stay consistent when no one's watching, you're coding your future. Every small, invisible effort becomes part of the grand design that no one can copy. They see the surface, you built the structure. They mimic the image, You own the idea. That's why your work stands the test of time. It was built on awareness, not attention. You've reached a point where your energy itself teaches. People around you begin to level up just by observing how you operate. They start to adopt your discipline, your calm, your structure, because genius is contagious when it's authentic. You don't preach, you embody, and that embodiment becomes silent instruction to every soul that crosses your path. That's leadership at its highest form, not dominance, but demonstration. That's why people trust you without knowing why. They feel your consistency, they sense your depth. You've become a mirror of what mastery looks like when lived, not spoken. And let's address this truth. No one on this earth can think like you. Not because others aren't capable, but because no one else has lived your combination of pain, insight, and persistence. Genius isn't born from privilege. It's forged in pressure. Every hardship that tried to break you actually built you. Every betrayal taught you awareness. Every mistake taught you precision. Your intelligence isn't just mental. It's emotional and spiritual resilience, sculpted into logic. That's what makes your thought process unique. It's not textbook brilliance. It's lived brilliance. You've reached a level where overthinking turned into strategic foresight. What used to feel like anxiety became anticipation. What once felt like doubt became data. You've weaponized your own psychology, and that's the highest evolution of intelligence. To understand yourself so deeply that nothing external can manipulate you. You've built an internal fortress of clarity. Every decision you make now comes from alignment, not impulse. And that's why your progress feels unstoppable. So remember this, you don't need to rush. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove. Every idea you're nurturing, every plan you're structuring, every move you're preparing, it's all aligning in perfect sequence. The world might not see it yet, but soon they will. They'll call it sudden success, but you'll know it was careful design. Because brilliance doesn't bloom overnight. It builds quietly, consistently, methodically. And that's exactly what you've been doing. Keep thinking the way you do. Keep building the way you do. Because every calculated move, every patient adjustment, every deliberate pause is forming the blueprint of a legacy only your kind of mind can create. You're not just participating in this world, you're shaping it from within. And they'll realize it soon enough, not through your words, but through your work. Because true masterminds don't announce their genius, they let the results do it for them. And yours, oh, yours are just beginning to unfold. Because once brilliance starts moving, it doesn't stop, it accelerates. What you've been quietly constructing in the background is now gathering momentum, piece by piece, like a magnetic field pulling every right element into position. That's the beauty of your process. It's invisible until it's undeniable. You've spent years perfecting patterns that others dismissed as overthinking. But now those patterns are turning into precision. Every idea that once felt too big is starting to find its place in reality. Every hesitation is now clarity. Every delay is turning into alignment. You've entered the phase where your intellect becomes motion. You're not just thinking, you're executing. And that's when everything begins to change. The world starts catching glimpses of what you've known all along, that your mind isn't designed for participation, it's designed for direction. You move through life like a tactician. Your decisions don't chase emotion, they chase efficiency. You don't follow trends, you forecast them. That's why your timing feels supernatural. It's not chance. It's calculation disguised as grace. People often say success leaves clues, but in your case, success leaves confusion. Because no one can trace the origin of your wins. They can't reverse engineer your thought process. It's too layered, too fluid, too advanced. You think in systems inside systems, nested logic that only you can navigate. And that's why you win quietly, while others collapse publicly. You're not distracted by noise, you're orchestrating outcomes. Every move you make carries dual purpose. One for the surface, one beneath it. That's the mark of a true mastermind. You've likely felt it recently, the shift in energy around you. People who once underestimated you now study you like a riddle they can't solve. They scroll through your presence, looking for clues, wondering how you always land on your feet, how you always seem composed when everything else is chaotic. The truth is, you're not lucky, you're layered, your preparation is invisible, and that's why it looks effortless. You've built such a strong inner framework that even your improvisation looks like choreography. You've learned to weaponize calm. When others panic, you plan. When they complain, you compute. When they chase, you calculate. You're proof that power doesn't need to be loud, it needs to be consistent. Your mind is the quiet current steering the ship while everyone else argues about the direction. That's why people gravitate toward you without knowing why. They feel safer in your presence because order exists where your awareness is. You're not just a person anymore. You're a stabilizing force. What's extraordinary about your kind of intelligence is how it adapts without losing identity. You can shift environments, roles, or challenges, and still remain in control. That's rare. Most people change to fit the room. You adjust the frequency of the room to fit your mind. That's why opportunities chase you. You've become the gravitational center of your reality. You don't force things, they orbit naturally. Every project, every connection, every revelation finds you because your thought energy emits precision. And now, as you rise, you're realizing something powerful. Mastery isn't about doing more. It's about doing only what matters. You've stopped scattering effort and started applying focused force. You've learned that one calculated action outweighs 1,000 mindless ones. And that lesson has changed everything. You're not hustling anymore. You're aligning. You're not guessing. You're guiding. You're not trying to be seen. You're making impact unavoidable. Think about how far your perception has evolved. Years ago, you sought understanding from others. Now you observe without attachment. You've transcended the need to be understood because you finally understand yourself. That's the turning point of every genius, when external noise becomes irrelevant. The validation you once craved now feels small. You've become self-referencing. You take feedback, you analyze it, but you never absorb it as identity. Because you've seen the truth, most opinions are projections, not perceptions. That's why your peace confuses people. They expect reaction, not reflection. They expect defense, not direction. But you don't operate at their level of immediacy. You've moved beyond emotional reactivity into psychological dominance. You read motives faster than they can articulate them. You sense intentions in tone, insecurity in posture, envy in flattery. Your discernment is surgical. You no longer waste time deciphering words. You decode energy. You've also learned something profound about competition. It doesn't exist when you're operating from originality. You're not racing anyone. You're racing your own refinement. That's why no one can catch up. They're chasing a version of you that no longer exists. Every time they think they've figured you out, you've already evolved again. You treat growth like oxygen. It's not optional. It's natural. And that's the difference between those who impress and those who lead. You've crossed that line. You've become a reference point. It's fascinating to watch, isn't it? How the same people who once mocked your depth are now quoting your mindset. They talk about your perspective like it's philosophy. They mimic your phrasing, your habits, your rhythm. But imitation never carries frequency. They can borrow the structure, but not the substance. They can steal the words, but not the wavelength. Because what powers your ideas isn't style, it's consciousness. And consciousness can't be copied. It can only be cultivated. You see through illusions now. Every person who tried to manipulate you ended up revealing themselves. Every betrayal became a lesson in psychology. You've realized manipulation fails against minds that observe patterns instead of emotions. That's why deception never holds power over you anymore. You read its code the moment it appears. You don't fight it. You simply step outside its logic. You've become untouchable not by force, but by understanding. There's a kind of quiet danger in that level of mental precision. It's not threatening, it's commanding. People instinctively respect what they can't predict. They sense that one wrong move around you could expose everything they're hiding. That's not intimidation, that's awareness, radiating authority. You've become the mirror people fear to look into because it reflects their inconsistencies. And yet, you don't judge. You simply see. You see too much, too clearly, and that's what keeps you in control. You've also noticed that opportunities now come with higher stakes. The universe doesn't hand masterpieces to minds that haven't mastered patience. You've earned this expansion through years of analysis, trial, recalibration. You've built endurance in the unseen hours when no one was watching. That's why your rise feels steady. It's structured on data, not delusion. You're not improvising success. You're executing a long-term blueprint. Every breakthrough you experience now was encoded in choices you made years ago. That's foresight in action. Let's talk about foresight. It's the crown jewel of mastery. It's what separates brilliant minds from reactive ones. You have it in abundance. You can sense outcomes before they take shape because you understand cause and effect at an instinctive level. You see every decision as part of an ecosystem. That's why you never overcommit, never overreact. You always leave room for redirection. That's not hesitation, it's strategy. You understand that the best moves are the ones made after observation, not emotion. And perhaps that's what unnerves people the most. You're never emotionally predictable. They can't push your buttons because you redesigned the board. You don't rise to bait. You remove it. You don't defend your intelligence. You let evidence speak. You don't argue your value. You embody it. That consistency terrifies those who depend on chaos for leverage. They realize they can't destabilize someone who's built stability from within. You've turned knowledge into architecture. Every principle you've learned has been integrated, tested, and refined. You're not just wise, you're operationally intelligent. You think like an engineer, act like an artist, and move like a strategist. Every decision carries balance, left brain precision, right brain imagination. That's why you solve problems others can't even define. Your creativity is structured, your logic is fluid. And when those two forces merge, innovation becomes inevitable. Let's be real, your mind intimidates mediocrity. It's not because you're aggressive, it's because you reveal what's lacking without trying. Your presence challenges complacency. When you speak, people feel compelled to rise to the occasion. That's influence at its purest. Not manipulation, activation. You awaken potential in others just by existing authentically, and that's why you're valuable beyond measure. Your energy doesn't just build success, it breeds evolution. You've reached the point where execution has become instinct. What once required planning now flows naturally. You've internalized efficiency. You don't waste words, time, or energy. You prioritize with surgical precision. You see leverage where others see loss. You see lessons where others see failure. That's why progress feels automatic now. It's simply the natural rhythm of a mind that's done its inner work. But here's the real mastery. You've learned to detach from outcome. You set the target, but you don't chase it. You align your behavior and let results catch up. That's the secret most never learn. Goals aren't achieved through obsession. They're achieved through optimization. You live in that optimized state now. You no longer need to force reality because your frequency already directs it. Everything you do resonates with intent. That's why things are falling into place without resistance. And deep down, you know this. Your intelligence isn't random, it's guided. Every insight, every idea, every intuitive download, it's all connected to something higher. You're not just thinking for yourself, you're channeling for the collective. You translate complexity into clarity for others. You take abstract truths and turn them into tangible impact. That's why your words echo. That's why your work lasts. You're not chasing relevance. You're rewriting reference. The world is catching up to your wavelength now. What once looked strange now looks visionary. What once felt misunderstood now feels monumental. You've gone from outsider to oracle without changing a thing, just by staying consistent. That's the power of staying rooted in truth. The moment you stopped explaining yourself, the evidence started speaking for you. That's what genius does. It proves itself through presence. You've outgrown the need to explain your intentions. You act, you adjust, you ascend. You don't seek revenge. You design progression. You don't need followers. You create frameworks. That's why leaders seek your insight without realizing they're being led. You've moved from participant to prototype. People measure their potential against your process. And that's how you know you've crossed into mastery, when your behavior becomes education. Still, you remain grounded. That's the paradox of your brilliance. You're simultaneously visionary and humble. You know that mastery isn't a crown, it's a responsibility. You don't hoard knowledge, you circulate it. You understand that wisdom multiplies only when shared. But you're selective, you share only with those who are ready. Because brilliance without boundaries becomes burnout. You've learned that lesson, and now your generosity is measured, not misplaced. And as you continue this rise, remember, your evolution isn't just mental, it's magnetic. Every idea you refine shifts collective consciousness. Every project you complete raises the standard of excellence for those watching. You've become a walking permission slip for others to expand. They see you and realize what's possible. That's legacy. That's influence without effort. You've stepped into a new era of command. Not the kind that demands obedience, but the kind that radiates authority through consistency. You don't need titles. You don't need applause. You've transcended those currencies. Your new currency is clarity. Every time you understand yourself deeper, your external world rearranges to match it. That's not coincidence. It's coherence. And soon, everyone will see the scale of what you've been building. They'll call it overnight, but you'll know it's been years in the making. Every sacrifice, every recalibration, every sleepless night was a deposit in the vault of destiny. And now, that vault is opening. The energy is shifting. Your creations are ready to step into visibility, not through noise, but through necessity. The world needs what your mind has built, and it's about to get it. Because brilliance doesn't ask for permission, it creates momentum. And you, the mastermind, have been orchestrating momentum all along. This next phase isn't about proving who you are. It's about revealing what you've built. The stage is set. The timing is aligned. The world is ready to witness thought in motion. And as the curtain begins to lift, you'll notice something poetic. The same minds that doubted you will become students of your discipline, the same voices that mocked you will echo your principles. That's not revenge. That's justice through demonstration. You never had to fight for respect. You simply had to embody excellence until respect had no choice but to follow. This is where it all begins to crystallize. Your mind isn't just brilliant, it's catalytic. Everything it touches transforms. Every idea becomes infrastructure. Every concept becomes a wave. You're no longer thinking about success. You're constructing it. And the foundation you've built is unshakable. The masterpiece is moving. The architecture is awakening. And soon, the world will stop asking how you do it and start asking who taught you to think like that. Because no one on this earth can replicate the mechanics of your mind. They can trace your steps, mimic your tone, steal your words, but they'll never reproduce the frequency behind them. What powers you isn't information, it's integration. You don't just know, you apply. You don't just plan, you perform. And every performance rewrites what the world thought was possible. This is the point where genius becomes legacy, where thought becomes monument. You're not chasing wins anymore, you're curating them. You understand that every decision is architecture, every conversation a blueprint, every execution a ripple that alters timelines. The difference between you and them is clarity. They react to circumstance. You create sequence. They seek advantage. You build inevitability through logic and leverage. You've turned your intellect into infrastructure that keeps expanding without collapse. And now, the results are undeniable. The projects that once lived only in your notes are materializing. The patterns that haunted your thoughts are now shaping reality. People can sense it, the precision behind your presence, the certainty in your delivery, the logic in your silence. They know something is different, but they can't define it. They call it talent, intuition, luck. But you know it's mastery. Mastery earned through repetition, awareness, and relentless optimization. You've been sculpting excellence molecule by molecule until brilliance became your default setting. What most call luck, you call math. You've studied probability long enough to realize that chance favors the prepared. You've rehearsed success until it became muscle memory. You don't chase outcomes anymore. You predict them. Your thoughts are coordinates, your actions the compass. And because you move with that precision, life can't help but align with you. That's why you always win, not because of favoritism, but because you've engineered yourself for flawless execution. They'll never understand how you see so far ahead. To them, it looks like magic. But for you, it's just clarity. You've trained your brain to zoom out and zoom in simultaneously, to analyze the whole field while reading the smallest detail. That's dual awareness, the mark of a true strategist. You're never lost, because you see both the destination and the detour at once. You could be dropped into chaos and still find pattern. That's how your mind works. It organizes disorder until even chaos obeys. And that's what frightens people the most. Your thinking is calm precision, wrapped in inevitability. You move without rush, yet always arrive first. You speak less, yet influence more. Your confidence isn't noise, it's knowledge, quietly proven through time. You never needed to announce your genius. The world eventually connects the dots on its own. And when it does, it realizes you were never competing. You were constructing the environment everyone else was competing inside. You've reached the summit of self-awareness. Every strength, every flaw, every instinct. You've studied them all. That's why nothing can catch you off guard anymore. You've turned self-analysis into self-armor. You know how to pivot without panic, how to recover without regression, how to observe without absorption. You've neutralized manipulation by mastering self-mastery. That's why your enemies burn out. They're fighting a mind that no longer bleeds. Your power now exists in perception. You see opportunities before they announce themselves. You can sense when energy is shifting, when timing is ripe, when a door is opening before the handle even turns. You've merged logic with intuition until they move as one force. That's the rarest brilliance, the mind that feels and calculates in the same breath. It's the reason why your timing seems perfect, why your words hit deeper, why your presence recalibrates entire rooms. Every great thinker in history had that quality, the fusion of intellect and instinct. Leonardo, Tesla, Da Vinci, Einstein, they all carried that same duality you carry now. But what makes you different is access. You're not confined by era or limitation. Your tools are digital. Your reach is global. Your influence exponential. You're a modern polymath, the prototype of evolved intelligence operating in real time. The same spark that guided the masters of the past now runs through you with updated circuitry. That's why nothing feels accidental anymore. Every connection, every idea, every breakthrough feels orchestrated because it is. And when people ask what drives you, you smile. Because you know it's not ambition, it's alignment. You're no longer chasing validation or revenge. You're chasing refinement. Every project, every idea, every challenge is another chance to sharpen your edge. You don't crave applause, you crave precision. You don't want followers, you want frameworks that outlive you. That's what separates brilliance from legacy, endurance. And your legacy is already being written in the results unfolding around you. Look at where you stand now. The people who once doubted you are quoting you. The ones who mocked your discipline are trying to imitate your patterns. The same audience that dismissed your potential now studies your process like scripture. That's poetic justice through progress. You never retaliated, you simply refined. You didn't explain, you executed. And that's why you're untouchable. Because results silence rumors faster than arguments ever could. This is your era of command. Every thought carries gravity now. Every move you make redefines the metric of intelligence. You've proven that genius isn't about being the loudest voice. It's about being the most deliberate mind. And that's exactly what you are. Deliberate. You choose when to speak, when to move, when to act, when to disappear. You understand that timing is the invisible hand of victory. And because your intuition and intellect are synchronized, your timing is flawless. It's almost unfair, isn't it? How easily you solve what paralyzes others. How naturally your mind connects the unconnectable. But that's what brilliance feels like. It makes the impossible look routine. You've reached the level where thinking itself becomes creation. You visualize, you plan, and the universe rearranges to your design. That's why people can't keep up. They're reacting to a reality you already reconstructed. You are the definition of mental sovereignty. Nothing external dictates your internal rhythm anymore. You're free, not because the world changed, but because your mind did. You've detached from illusion and replaced it with understanding. That's why you don't break when things go wrong. You simply recalibrate. Adversity is no longer punishment. It's information. Every challenge adds data to your library of wisdom, and that's why nothing can truly defeat you. You either win or you learn, and learning is another form of winning. And through it all, you've remained grounded. That's the most fascinating part. Most people lose humility when they gain awareness, but you've turned humility into a lens that keeps your vision clear. You know that every genius who forgets gratitude eventually collapses under ego. You've learned balance, the equilibrium between confidence and curiosity. You're proud, but never complacent. You celebrate, but never stagnate. That's why your growth is endless. So when they call you a mastermind, it's not exaggeration, it's observation. You've earned that title through design, discipline, and depth. You are the architect of your own ascension. You are the equation no one else can solve. You've become the benchmark of what happens when intellect meets intention. And soon the world will use your name as the example of strategic evolution. Not by luck, not by chance, but by choice. Because brilliance isn't noise, it's navigation. And you, the brilliant mastermind, have already charted the course others are just beginning to imagine. You don't follow trends, you forecast transformations. You don't look for opportunity, you generate it. You've mastered the rarest art of all. Thinking at a frequency that turns thought into reality. And that's why you always win. Not because you want to dominate, but because you were designed to demonstrate what mastery looks like in motion. You are proof that when the human mind operates in full alignment, nothing on this planet can oppose it. So keep building, keep refining, keep evolving. Because the world hasn't seen the full scope of your brilliance yet. The foundations are set, the architecture is alive, and the mind behind it all, you, continues to expand. Remember this final truth. No one on earth can think like you. And that's exactly how it was meant to be.